Hi, welcome to Psyche Wisdom within the confines of the simple, religiously devoted and seemingly modest lives of the Amish community. Strict social customs and deep-rooted beliefs shape daily existence. But what happens behind the closed doors of their bedrooms might leave you speechless. Prepare to uncover the jaw-dropping secrets about the hidden sexual lives of the Amish. Secrets they've kept in the shadows until now. Rumspringa is frequently idealized as a time of liberation for Amish youth. Yet it encompasses far more than just a journey into modern society. Rumspringa is a period when Amish teenagers, typically around the age of 16, are permitted to step away from their community and explore the world beyond their familiar surroundings. This time, intended to assist them in determining if they want to go back to Amish life, transforms into a phase of bold exploration for numerous young individuals. During Rumspringa, it is typical for teenagers to engage in various forms of sexual experimentation. This period often sees them exploring premarital sex, binge drinking, drug use, and other activities. The Amish community upholds a strict rule against premarital sex, a principle often reinforced within the home. However, during the period known as Rumspringa, many young people explore sexual relationships, often without the benefit of formal sexual education. For certain individuals, this period can lead to unforeseen pregnancies or lasting emotional effects, particularly when they are anticipated to return to a lifestyle of chastity and religious commitment. The hidden truth of Rumspringa challenges the calm perception of the Amish way of life. One of the most surprising and traditional practices among the Amish when it comes to dating is referred to as bundling. Bundling refers to the practice where an unmarried couple shares a bed, remaining fully clothed while sticking to specific guidelines that prohibit any sexual interaction. Its purpose is to promote emotional closeness before marriage. What occurs during bundling can differ significantly from one couple to another. Amish leaders emphasize the significance of steering clear of physical intimacy. However, the chance to share a bed frequently gives rise to sexual temptation. Some parents and religious leaders think that bundling can foster intimacy while minimizing the chances of premarital sex. In practice, this approach can create a situation where young couples find themselves participating in risky sexual activities, all while upholding an image of innocence. When an unexpected pregnancy happens, it often remains hidden, leading to pressure on the couple to marry immediately in order to prevent any shame from falling upon their families. One of the most unsettling truths is the significant occurrence of sexual abuse within the Amish community. While they may seem devout on the surface, numerous Amish communities struggle with deep-seated issues of abuse, frequently affecting young girls and children. The reality becomes even more unsettling when considering how extensively these cases are kept quiet by the leadership within the Amish community. Victims of abuse often find themselves under immense pressure to remain silent. They are conditioned to believe that it is their obligation to forgive those who have harmed them. This mindset leads them to feel a sense of responsibility for the abuse they have suffered. The current climate of silence enables abusers to carry on their harmful actions for a long time, sometimes spanning years or even decades, without encountering any repercussions. Former members of the Amish community have bravely shared their experiences regarding the prevalence of sexual violence within their communities. Yet there has been minimal action taken to tackle this serious problem. The Church's unwillingness to recognize the issue continues the cycle of abuse, leaving victims without any means of support. One significant challenge within Amish culture is the absence of comprehensive sexual education. Amish children, particularly girls, are raised with minimal knowledge about sex, reproduction, or the concept of consent. Conversations surrounding sex often remain covered in silence, resulting in young individuals feeling uncertain and exposed to the risks of sexual exploitation. The lack of information fosters a setting where misunderstandings about sex drive, leaving young Amish men and women unready for marriage and adult sexual relationships. The effects of this lack of understanding become clear during the phases of courtship and marriage. Numerous Amish girls find themselves entering marriage without a clear understanding of what sex involves, which can result in feelings of shame and confusion. In Amish communities, women often find themselves in a position where they are forced to submit to their husbands. This expectation can lead to a situation where marital exploitation occurs, leaving women with little to no control over their own sexual autonomy. Incest presents a significant concern in the Amish community, intensified by their closed-off way of life and restricted genetic diversity. Due to the limited number of families and a strong tradition of marrying within their community, it is quite common for Amish individuals to enter into marriages with their first or second cousins. Marrying cousins is not inherently illegal or considered taboo in many cultures. However, it can raise the chances of genetic disorders, a phenomenon observed in certain Amish communities. It is particularly troubling that instances of sexual abuse within families frequently remain hidden from view. Incestuous abuse cases, especially those involving older male relatives and young girls, have come to light, but these offenses often go unreported to the authorities. The Amish tend to be quite cautious around those who are not part of their community, particularly regarding issues that arise within their families or among community members. Consequently, victims endure their pain in silence, lacking both legal and emotional support. In the Amish community, their viewpoint is that men are seen as the primary authority figures, carrying significant influence within both the family structure and the broader community. The dynamics of power are evident even in the bedroom, where there exists an expectation for women to fulfill their husband's sexual needs without hesitation. The concept of consent appears to be largely absent in Amish marriages. Numerous Amish women have shared their experiences of feeling confined in marriages characterized by sexual oppression, often lacking the power to decline their husband's advances. In Amish communities, divorce is not permitted, leaving women with limited options if they are trapped in an abusive or exploitative marriage. The focus on submission and obedience often results in women feeling compelled to meet their husband's demands, irrespective of their own emotions or wishes. In certain Amish communities, it is not unusual for girls around the age of 16 to enter into marriage with significantly older men. In many cases, families take the lead in arranging these marriages, often overlooking the emotional and physical readiness of the bride. After getting married, these young girls are anticipated to begin having families right away, frequently giving birth to several children before they turn 20. The expectation to fit in with community norms, along with limited education or life experiences, makes these young women vulnerable to exploitation. Many young girls who enter into marriage do so without a clear understanding of their rights or the true nature of marital life. This lack of awareness makes them vulnerable to partners who may seek to dominate or mistreat them. In a society where divorce is not an option, and women are expected to be submissive, these young girls face a dark reality if they find themselves trapped in an unhappy or abusive relationship. The Amish community continues to hold firm beliefs against homosexuality, even as society increasingly embraces LGBTQ+ individuals. Members of the community who are discovered to be involved in same-sex relationships experience immediate excommunication and social isolation. The strict viewpoint creates an environment where numerous Amish individuals who identify as gay or lesbian experience anxiety about being rejected and feeling isolated. The fear of losing connection with their families and community compels many individuals to hide their true selves, resulting in significant emotional distress. Reports indicate that some Amish individuals have been directed to rehabilitation programs or have undergone religious counseling in attempts to cure their homosexual tendencies. Such practices not only fail to produce positive outcomes, but can also have a profoundly negative impact on an individual's mental well-being. Sexual violence within the Amish community is a significant issue that often remains unaddressed beyond their own circles. The isolated nature of Amish communities creates significant barriers for victims seeking to speak out. When they finally find the courage to share their experiences, They frequently encounter skepticism or are subjected to blame instead of support. Survivors often receive messages that they must forgive those who have harmed them. There is a significant amount of pressure placed on them to remain silent, as speaking out may bring shame to their families or communities. The church often finds itself in a position where it prioritizes the protection of abusers over the pursuit of justice for victims of sexual violence, leading to a troubling pattern of cover ups. Typically, when cases arise, church leaders tend to manage them internally, often without engaging law enforcement authorities. This fosters a situation in which abusers can carry on with their actions without fear of repercussions, fully aware that they are unlikely to encounter any significant consequences. Leaving the Amish way of life for the sake of love, particularly for an individual from outside the community, carries serious consequences. When individuals choose to marry someone from outside their community, they often face the consequence of permanent excommunication. This indicates that they are completely isolated, severing ties with their family and friends, who played a crucial role in their lives. Until that moment, they lose the feeling of connection and the only culture that has shaped their lives. Leaving for love can be a mix of emotions, filled with both joy and sadness. As former members of the Amish community leave behind the strict rules and expectations, they face the challenging of adjusting to a new culture. As they step into the modern landscape, they face the realities of technology, the evolving social norms surrounding relationships, and the sexual freedoms that were planted in them as taboo. The shift can lead to notable strain in their new relationships, particularly when their partner comes from a distinctly different cultural or religious background. Through our exploration of these 10 surprising revelations, it becomes clear that the truth within the Amish communities is much more complicated and unsettling than it seems at first glance. The way they view sexuality, gender roles, and relationships uncovers a culture marked by ignorance, abuse, and systemic oppression, which often stays hidden from public awareness. The Amish community presents a carefully managed exterior, concealing troubling practices, such as bundling and the harsh truths of child marriage, alongside the systemic concealment of sexual abuse and violence. Even practices that appear harmless, such as rumspringa, provide insight into a world where sexual restraint and indulgence cross in ways that often go ignored. One of the most striking elements of Amish sexuality is the prevalence of abuse that remains unaddressed within their communities. The church's culture of silence and forgiveness allows predators to carry on their actions without facing consequences, leaving victims without any means of support or justice. In a similar vein, the absence of sexual education creates a situation where Amish individuals, especially women, find themselves vulnerable and uncertain regarding their sexual health and personal autonomy. The Amish community's patriarchal structure limits women's autonomy over their own bodies, reinforcing troubling patterns within the society. In contemporary society, the notion of sexual consent is largely absent in Amish marriages, where women frequently lack agency over their own sexual experiences. Even in the face of these alarming realities, a sense of hope persists. Individuals who have bravely left the Amish community are sharing their stories, revealing the abuses and injustices that often stay hidden. In this isolated environment, the stories often expressed through various online platforms, literature, and visual storytelling shed light on the less visible aspects of Amish life, prompting those outside the community to rethink their idealized views. Studies highlight an urgent need for change and support within Amish communities. Those who have suffered from sexual abuse and oppression are entitled to justice and support. It is essential to break down the systematic patterns of silence and cover ups that have persisted for too long. With an increasing number of survivors sharing their stories and a raising awareness among the community, there is a hopeful anticipation for change to reach even the most isolated elements of Amish life. If you liked our video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you stay updated. Thanks for watching.